Bella Nipotina, Ruthless Dame also wide around. Ruthless Dame, another award steaming late. Ruthless Dame in front, another award. It's the 3-year-old filly, Ruthless Dame in the Sangster.
Welcome to Bet Doctor, behind the curtain look at how pro punters operate. I'm your host, Scoot. I've got no one in studio with me. Walt's called in sick. He's got the sniffle. I'm battling as well. I got the Gold Coast flu, or the virus is just running rampant up here in the Sunshine State. It's beautiful weather. But DK and Nico join me from the Melbourne studio. How are you, boys?
It'll be a bit more cheerful show without Walt here, won't it? Everyone says, I can rant, but geez, Walt, he's miserable every time he comes in. The game's gone, completely gone every week. So, no, we'll be a bit more upbeat this week, Nico.
Yeah, hopefully. We've got a big show coming up, big weekend as well with Group 1 racing, the stream. So, plenty of form to be done. And hopefully we can just keep chipping away, find a few winners, DK.
That's what we want to do on Saturday.
Well, it's going to be a big show, so we'll bounce straight into it. And we'll introduce and welcome KINGSLEY Bartholomew from the Wolfden, founder of Wolfden and notorious Sydney professional punter, to Bet Doctor for the first time. Welcome, KINGSLEY.
Thanks, good. Hi, boys. You've been planning to...
Hey, Kings.
I've got the sniffles. What's going on?
Definitely not, mate. It's just the...
That's the $1.01 chance lot there.
Daycare germs. It's if you have kids, you'll know all about it. Just unrelenting.
You should have built up your resilience by now, though, Scoot. Come on. Like, you get it early, and then once you get crook from the daycare stuff, Nico, once you get it, you're crook as dogs, and then once your body, you get the immunity, then you're sweet. So
hopefully I don't have to worry about this for a long time.
Kings, on a more serious note, I guess all the news at the moment in wagering is surrounding POC and I guess Victoria's sort of the last of the Mohicans. They've gone from 10 to 15%, and yep. I guess the tides are rising everywhere. It feels like some of us guys in here, high turnover, low margin punters have been targeted by this, or we're the ones feeling the squeeze the most. How's it affected you? Obviously, that's been your model for a long time. How do you react to something like the Vic POC tax increasing and just POC tax increasing across the boards?
Yeah, well, as you said, they're Vic are the last ones to push it to 15, and it's just another small nail in the coffin, I suppose, but you just got to adapt. You just got to find a way to change your models, which a few bookmakers have, in particular TopSport, and find a way to overcome it, really. But I think this latest rise in particular will affect Betfair. So on Betfair, the liquidity on Victorian racing is a lot higher than New South Wales and Queensland. But I think they'll obviously have to raise the commission limits. So I think we're going to see a reduction there in volume on Betfair, which is a shame. So how does it affect me? My turnover on Betfair in particular will drop, I would think. As far as it affects me in other ways, probably not greatly, because I think one thing that these tax increases have forced the bookmakers to do is become a lot smarter. So they are running their businesses a lot more efficiently than what they used to. So everybody's complaining about increases in taxes, which it has made life for the professional punter a lot harder, which has never been easy, but it has made it hard. But I'll ask you guys, so say they abolish POC tax altogether, do you think that the percentage would be reduced a lot, the bookies' percentages? Do you think they would change their business models, or would it remain the same? Because what they've done is they've become smarter, they've increased their percentage, and now they're all making, not all of them, but majority are making 10 to 15% on turnover from punters. Do you think it would change a lot if not the POC tax is going to be abolished, but if it was, do you think it would change?
Definitely. I'll field this one first. From a convenience point of view, I think Top Fluck and Best of the Best are two products that have clearly departed in the last sort of 18 months. To sit there and fish out prices, like you probably have the luxury to do, KINGSLEY, on Betfair and that sort of like, I think that's a massive disadvantage for a punter like myself. And if you remove price or products like Top Fluck and Best of the Best, I'm forced to then go, I guess, head to head in battle with you on Betfair. If I've got a family, or if I've got a business, or if I'm not tied to the computer on my phone all the time, I'm going to take worse prices because I haven't got access to those two products. So as a direct consequence of the rising taxes, I'd say that TopSport, if POC tax was abolished, they'd just re-implement Top Fluck and Best of the Best.
I agree with you in terms of TopSport, but take TopSport out of it, because TopSport are the fairest bookmaker that I've ever dealt with. Tristan is one of a kind, really. I've never seen a bookmaker be fairer than what TopSport are in terms of giving professional punters or every punter the best service in the game. If you take them out of it and you're dealing with your sports bets, Ladbrokes, or your bet makers, do you think they would still be betting the same percentages, the 125s to 130s, or do you think they would come back to the halcyon days of the 115s, 118s that we were seeing sort of pre-Octax?
I think they'd try it. DK?
I've had a good think about this last week. We were all a bit heated last week after it went up and got a bit, another nail in the coffin sort of thing. But I've sort of settled down and had a good think about it the last week or so. And I think Kingsley's right. The main thing for us was the effect on Betfair and the increased commission there, and how that affects most of us personally. But I don't think they would. I think they're driven. They're worried about their bottom line, their profit, and their recreational punters. And no, I think now they're used to it. They're used to the 130. And even when it does get wound down, it's only now they'll just sit there, and it's only in the last 2 minutes. So it's not really. The SPs are a bit skewed and things like that. It's not like the SP sitting there for 5 minutes you can have a go at. It's just they're winding them out later and later and later. And I think they've got that's their method into that's the 2023 method of the main WSPs. And I can't see them winding that back. What do you, Nico?
Yeah, I probably agree. To be honest, they've found their little spot, haven't they? It's a nice, comfy spot for them. Why would they sort of get out of it if it was to change? It's not going to change, but. Yeah, for the sake of argument's sake, I'm probably similar to your boys' views there.
Yeah, because they love. I mean, they had 130 and that, and they get the sharps knocking off. Bet the tab who go up first and knock it into line. I mean, they hate sharps getting through them early. They hate that. So they've sort of nearly ironed that out of their game, which they'd be happy with. And now they, push it out late for the Rex, and that's it.
Well, that's the thing with the early prices. You just have a tab account. And you knock that into line, and then everyone just follows suit anyway. So it's just the blokes that can get on with the tab anyway that do it. And you sort of see, like White Marlin, he went up 350, now he's 220 everywhere. I would imagine only the tab punters that got that.
10 years ago, that was us doing all that.
Yeah.
Right, that was us. That was P. There was early doors. That was me and other guys getting in first and getting a good bet on. Times have changed 10 years later, And that was our game, early market and getting those spoils and doing your markets and everything like that. The whole thing's changed and the bookies have changed as well.
Wow.
I'm hearing that there's a fair few, or there's at least maybe 2 or 3 of the betmaker style bookmakers that are under the pump, if not on the brink of collapse, and likely to happen over the next couple of months. What do you think about that, Kingsley?
I think we're going to see more of it. We're going to see more amalgamations between bookies. I think you're going to see a lot of the smaller operators dropping out. It's going to be really hard, and that's, I think, where the problem really lies. I think the best taxation systems are ones where everybody can flourish. I think the Betfair needs to flourish. I think small bookies need to flourish. I think Encore's to a lesser degree, because a lot of them have gone online now, so let's leave them out. But they need to flourish, the smaller bookies. I think a bookie like TopSport, who wants to offer the professional punter the best service in town, I think they need to flourish. So, as does Sportsbet, the big guys, Sportsbet, Ladbrokes. So, you just need to find that balance there, which we don't have at the moment, where everybody's getting a piece of the pie. I think we've gone and pushed it a little bit too far in terms of the taxation rates, where the small bookies are really going to struggle. Professional punters, well, there's not that many professional punters left now, but professional punters are going to struggle. But there are 4 million recreational punters in Australia that bet at horse racing. There's probably, I don't know how many, a couple of hundred maybe people who try and do it for a living and make money betting professionally or semi-professionally. So the professional punter, in a way, doesn't really have a voice or have a lot of stake in the game because they're not contributing that much. But the recreational punter is one thing that we all have in common. The recreational punter has to keep engaged in the game, has to keep betting in the game. Professionals need recreational punters. Bookmakers need recreational punters. The whole game needs recreational punters to still be invested and still have, a love for the game. And I think that's where the real danger lies in this tax increase, because recreational punters are now losing it, let's say 20% on turnover. You go to a casino, you lose it 2 or 3%. You bet on rugby league at the line, you're going to lose it at 5%. 20% is a big rate to be losing, and recreational punters not silly. They know when they're not getting, bang for their buck. They're out by race. They go to the tab with or bet online with $200. They're out by race 2 or 3, whereas that $200 used to last to race 8. So they're not getting enjoyment now, and that's where if I was a PRA, that's what I'd be most concerned about.
It's good. Funny you say 20% because Walt is likening it now to a poker machine mentality, and that's poker machine like takeouts.
Dang.
20% of the dollar, 20% in your dollar, and just churn through it. So, just Kings, while I got you there, I mean, with this, when we reacted to the going from 10 to 15, and there is already jurisdictions at 20%. There's Queensland, and I read something that in predictive prices for the new wagering license. What's included in that is an anticipation that the POC tax will at some stage go to 20%.
And
So we don't overreact or go off our heads again when it's goes from 15 to 20. You bet on Queensland. Are you seeing any major differences between states that have 15 or 10 to 15, apart from the Betfair commissions and things like that? Have you changed your business in Queensland or anything? Or?
no, I just run it the same throughout Australia. It comes back to my original point. I don't think that will change. Bookies won't change their model if they come back to 10 or 5 or 10 or 15 or 20. If it keeps going higher, they will increase their percentage. But I think because they know how to run their businesses now and they do it so efficiently and in such a smart manner, they'll increase across the board. I don't think that they would bet, the majority of bookies would be betting a higher percentage in Queensland or a little bit less here and there. Might be, 1% here or there, but I don't think so. But as far as my business goes, I treat every state the same.
Do you think, Kings, you've got a bit of an advantage or a big advantage over a younger player entering the game? You've obviously got an established bankroll. You got deeper pockets. You can have, I guess, less bets, more on them, especially that the minimum bet laws are positioned the way they are now. You can take less risks with your bankroll than, I guess, the aspiring punters. And I think that's where my sort of point comes into it. Like if, blokes like me look up to, the Kingsleys, the DKs, the Mark Hunters, the John Walters, my concern is if guys like DK, Mark Hunter or John Walter start to feel the pinch and they can't win at the game, I think the next generation of punters, how do they come through and who becomes the next sort of Kingsley Bartholomew down the line if it's so hard at the moment to sort of get that bankroll to that higher level? Or do you think it's easy? It's never been easy to grow your bankroll at the moment.
I think it's always been hard. I've been punting for 25 years now, and it's always been hard. It's never when I started, there was no top luck. There was no best of the best. There was no best tote. If we wanted to have a tote bet, you went up to the window and had it. There was no commission. I think punters, it's just changing markets, and you have to adapt to them. I think there is huge opportunity for young punters to come through and make money in today's market. If we wanted to have a bet back then on Monday or a Tuesday, we had to get on a light plane and fly to the track. Where now you've got markets from the day before, from 9 a.m. There's a lot more opportunities, a lot more races to choose from. There's a lot more access to free data or databases nowadays. These kids coming through have knowledge on AI that I have, and I'm trying to sort of get my head around. So my main advantage is experience with bankroll and how to manage bookmakers and that sort of thing. But as far as people coming through, I think there's as much opportunity now as there's ever been. It's always been hard. Punting's not easy, and it's a mental battle as much as anything. But I'm always positive about what things are. I don't get too caught up in the negative of increased percentages. I think you have to adapt. I think the majority of punters fail for two reasons. One, they can't handle the mental torture that it puts us through day in, day out. And two, they don't adapt to market changes, increasing percentages or whatever it may be. On-course bookies going to online or certain, different things where markets are changing all the time. So you've got to update your models all the time as well. You've got to look at new data that's coming through and see yes, we've had an increase in taxes of 2%. How can I make my form better rather than complaining about the increase in taxes? How can I lift myself and increase my model by 2% to sort of counteract that?
Definitely a fair point. Speaking of changing models, I've got a couple of graphics I'm going to put up on screen, and these are some figures year on year, turnover stats from TopSport. They've been forced to change their model. And you can see here that New South Wales, they're doing 63% of their turnover in 2022 compared to 2021, 44% in Vic, and then Queensland 70%. So these are all just reactions to the different taxing arrangements. Racefields has dropped down to 68%, but POC tax has gone up 151 in 2022. And Tristan informs me that that's due to some sports results. So I think what they're raking from, say, an NBA game, the profits there have been poured into tax. And then if you flick over to the year-on-year figures in spring, so this is later in the year, they're only doing 55% of their New South Wales turnover, Victoria 47, and 63 in Queensland. And again, Racefields looks like it's pretty low, 60%, and POC is still holding its own. And a direct quote that he gave me to sort of attribute to those stats, he said, the last 2 financial years, they've made more money gross than any other year, but they've had their worst 2 years of net results. So the punters are losing more and the majority is going to taxes. So punters are directly funding the industry. Any thoughts on what you've seen there, Kingsley, just off the top of your head? But as you sort of already touched on it before with them having to change their model, and they've obviously accommodated and they're dealing with all that hot money. Is the tiered approach to taxation the silver bullet for someone like TopSport?
I think it is. I think they need to, as I said, this game needs to accommodate everyone. And TopSport are a bit of a one-off where they want to take on professional punters. They want to hold money. They want to bet low margins. Tristan's a one-off, which is fantastic and a real credit to the industry. And he's had to change his business model, which isn't great for professional punters, but the PRAs look at TopSport and they sort of don't care about them that much because they're only bringing in X amount of turnover. They're one. If everyone had that business model, then it would be different. But they should be accommodated. There should be rewards for betting lower percentages. You should pay less tax if you're guaranteed to be betting under 120 on races or something like that, where there can be different taxation structures for different styles of bookmaking, I think. And the Victorian model where it's meeting by meeting, where you're paying tax on the profit is just crazy for a bookmaker. Obviously, he has to change his model. He can't bet big. You can't take risks. They're forcing bookmakers to bet you 130 and try and win on every race and become a poker machine. Is that what they want? It clearly probably is. So I can't see things changing a lot. I think it is what it is, and we just sort of got to, which TopSport have done, and punters have to do the same thing. We just have to adapt to the rules and play it on.
DK, you got any questions for Kingsley?
Well, not really. I'll just to comment on that. I mean, it's just, as we know, it's crazy. I mean, turnover, they're hoping it remains stagnant. I mean, that's the best way. They're not looking at turnover growth anymore. They're hoping, the modelling I saw, they're hoping it remains stagnant, and that's what they're predicting the tax and the receipts and things like that from. But for a business to have to reduce turnover, for the smaller bookmakers to have to keep their turnover under a threshold so they don't grow. Tristan's reducing. I mean, professional punters, some are going to be reducing turnover, of course, because, can't fire at the high percentages. And, I think for a game that's trying to build turnover, they've really got to reassess that scenario where tax on turnover.
Do you think that the PRAs don't want a bookmaker like TopSport betting super competitive markets because it will take away market share and profit from bookmakers like Sportsbet and Ladbrokes?
But does it really though? I think they're a different style of customer. Like, there's no way I can turn the money over at a place like Sportsbet or Ladbrokes compared to what I used to at TopSport. All that money that I used to turn over is completely gone.
I think that they would have the view that the money would be turned over anyway. So if TopSport's turnovers drop by 50%, then that money, I'm not saying this happens, but I think this is their view, then that money would be gone to Sportsbet or other bookmakers. So the money's being turned over anyway in their view.
It's definitely, that's a weird one. I would have thought that they want every type of customer, which you've touched on. And it's interesting, a little announcement that we can also talk about is Best of the Best is going to be back on for Queensland Group 1 races, which is a good result for punters, I guess, like myself, and that's a bet to win $5,000. So it's interesting that it's coming out of Queensland, getting some positive results there. And
well, that's a good thing. We mentioned last week, Scoot, whether this is with Jason Scott coming up there, who's got the big wagering background and things like that. I mean, I think that is a positive for Tristan. And if Southern PRAs aren't listening to him, it might help him. Maybe Jason Scott and the Queensland will get Queensland into gear and give Tristan some light at the end of the tunnel.
I think we'll wrap that convo up because we've only got an hour for the show today. But another graphic we'll put on screen is the live stream on Saturday. So if you've been under a rock, sleeping, or overseas, the live stream this Saturday, we're joining forces with Kingsley's team, the Wolfden, and we're going to try and take down TopSport. So we've got over $10,000 in the betting bank. It'll close on Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. We'll arrange some of our best bets with some staking around it and then figure out what the final bank is, and we'll bet with a certain level of confidence and see how the day sort of unfolds. But hopefully we can agree on a certain amount of bets, and hopefully the guys can find 1, 2 or 3 or up to sort of 5 bets. We might have to put the stallion chain on you, Kings, only having submitting sort of 3 or 5 bets for the day. It'll be tough.
There's a few of us in there now. We've got Dano, we've got Matt Taylor, we've got the Fizzer, who's probably the best judge in the room. So we're all ready to go. Richie will be there, so there's going to be plenty of action, that's for sure.
What price would you have us to knock over TopSport, given the lineup of talent? There's 11 pretty sharp punters there.
I'd have us about $1.20. I'm very confident going in.
Outstanding. All right, I'd say that we nearly have to give up if we can't beat them on Saturday. So best of luck over on the Battle of the Punt, I guess, for until we get another rise in the Poctax arena. But I think you've definitely left a couple of pearls of wisdom, and I think you need to keep improving your game. But again, I think maybe some tiered taxation changes, and as DK and yourself have touched upon, maybe the PRAs need to go back to the drawing board to see how they can get everyone back in the game and get the turnover cranking. But fingers crossed we can turn over some cash this Saturday in the live stream. Thanks, Kings.
Thanks, boys.
And your Kings.
All right, that was Kingsley Bartholomew from Wolfden. So we appreciate their time and can't wait to join forces with them on Saturday. If you need a bit of a giggle, make sure you check out the Comics Lounge in North Melbourne. They're one of our sponsors in Errol Street. They've just had a comedy festival, but the show rolls on for them 365 days of the year. Got a big show today. We've got Anthony Don previewing the Doomben 10,000 meeting. Looks a bit tricky. Hopefully he's got some roughies for us. He might have an early bet at Scone on Friday. That's his wheelhouse. As I said before, Walt's got a virus. He's got a bit of the sniffle, but I'm going to step in and preview the Scone Cup, and he's got a bit of a moral on Saturday. Nico, you got Flemington on Saturday. You got the Andrew Ramsden, the straight 6-day. Azza, I think he's OS, but he's going to dial in as if he could have a day off after tipping Ruthless Dame last week at $16 or $17. TopSport Steam has finally hit the board. Al Abir, I think it was 2,500 at 330. So finally the early money at TopSport hits. I think they got 2 strong bets this week. As I said, TopSport are offering best the best on all Queensland Group 1 races, so make sure you get behind it. Have a big swing on their product there. Odds to win 5,000. And if you haven't got a TopSport account, this is a perfect weekend to try it. Jump into the stream with us, and you can sit alongside Kingsley, DK, and me and Nico, and you can bet with us all day. So it's going to be an absolute epic 11:30 till about 5 o'clock in the afternoon on YouTube, and it's the same process to join. So you just need a TopSport account for, I guess, the legal requirement. And as Kingsley said, they're the fairest bookie, and that's obviously why we've partnered with them. And legally, we need to bet with someone. We can't spread the money around to all bookies, and we appreciate their support on the show. Feels like I've been talking for a while, and might steer over to Azza and welcome him back to the show. Ruthless Dame. Wow, too strong.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Yeah, it was good. I think panned out well for her coming down the middle there. And unfortunately, we were on set She Dances and 7 Veils as well. And She Dances started about the price we said, about $2.70, and Linda couldn't get it over the line. Kieran too good. 7 Veils flowing for third. So nearly clean swept it. But it was a good day. But hopefully we can back it up this week.
I might have to borrow a Froggy Newitt shirt. All right, Morphettville race 7, the SA Derby. Let's have a quick look at the market here. She's fit $5 favourite. That's a surprise for me. Loco, DK's horse. Pre-post flux are interesting here. 11 into 550, 0 similar. 11 into 650. Promises kept 650. Dunkel is back $10. Aberfeldy Boy 8 out to 11. Red Sun Sensation, one of Nico's $13. High Approach 15. 80 grand 26. Got to be Savvy 31. Bengal Boy 34. And then you got horses like Northern Barrage $34. Dunwoody, DK's horse $51. And you can get much better the rest. The replay that we're going to have a look at here is Promises Kept back at Bendigo in the green colours.
Probably a substandard race, but worked hard the first 600 metres to sit OSL. love how it sprinted away here and really accelerated between the 4 and the 2. As I said, the field is a lot weaker than this, but love how he put them away. I think it's important to note racing in the Greg Urell colours here. A bunch of new owners have obviously purchased it with a view of it's a Caulfield Cup horse. So it's been in Kieran's system for 6 weeks. But on very good authority that it's improved out of sight since changing stables. I think this is a very, very promising horse. Zara's been riding in all his track work, and he's sticking with it here instead of Jay Allen because he has been riding it in work. Look, this is probably the strongest South Australian derby I've seen, to be honest. It has come up stronger than I thought it would. I'm against that Red Sun Sensation race. I'm looking away from that form. Hard against the favourite here. Very, very keen on this Promises Kept. I think it's just a horse on the way up. And as I said, I know it's taken huge improvement. It's going to be up on speed, and I think it's going to be strong at the end of the 2,500. And I want to be on it. I've backed it to win so a significant amount.
Yeah, let's have a look at the replay of She's Fit. You're thinking the filly's the danger here in the Cerise?
Yeah, I mean, she drew 16 in this Group 1. I mean, probably a weak Group 1, the Australasian Oaks, but they decided to go back and take their medicine. I don't think he could have ridden any better, Williams, and she's coming back down the middle here, as you said, in the Cerise. And I was against her this day, but she really surprised me. I thought she absolutely savaged a line, looking like the 2,400 in a couple of weeks was going to suit. She was back from 2,400 this day as well. Interesting. Flying C. Parnham over for this as well. Top jockey. Has ridden her in a lot of her wins in WA. And I think she's a danger. As I said, I want to be on Promises Kept each way around those $7-8. I want to be unloading on it each way. I've backed it with a lot of confidence. I think She's Fit's the main danger if he wants to chop out anything. So I think C0 goes Froggy Knew It's Opie Bossum. That's a triple tick, but it's got 20. So it's going to be a very tough task. Aberfeldy Boy, I just thought it's one short here, and Queensland Derby's a day for it. And as I said, I'm against the Loco and Red Sensations. Strong race, but heavily involved. Promises Kept each way.
DK, Nico?
Yeah, I suppose you just got to figure out what you want to do with the traditional lead up, the chairmans, given how fast they went in that race and sort of what they have left in the tank. You know, Ceziro's had been to 2,400, come back to 2,000, and out of that strong run race. Loco, who got the blinkers on there, had a real searching gallop, and now he's deep into his first campaign. I would have thought Red Sun Sensation may be the horse out of them, given just where he's in his stage of prep and how he hit the line. But yeah, tricky. I think Loco's the best horse in the race. I just don't know if he's the best setup on Saturday, given the race he comes out of. I was kind of with She's Fit. I thought that was a really good run last start out of the SA Oaks. She's a filly that, over 2,400, that's what we saw the best of her in Perth. So, I thought she could probably be one that really hits the frame. I can understand the love for Promises Kept. I don't know about him. I think he's going to have to improve under Mar Eustace if they're saying he has.
He still doesn't know what he's doing. That's the thing, that horse. I mean, remember him when he won at Sale? He went at side angles, and even
left-hand blinker on at Sale.
Yeah, and he was closer to the rail at Bendigo, but he still was all over the joint, and mate, you can do that in maidens and, like I said, lesser quality. Whether you can do this is a strong addition, but no, Aussie couldn't wait to come up and tell me, I bought up Promises Kept, and told me how much he paid for it, and I said, it's a nice horse. So I think it goes here. It might go to Queensland, but we'll see. But Promises Kept. Aussie, another one for the Aussie team.
This is your sort of race, DK.
Yeah, but I thought She's. I like She's Fit as well. Like I'm worrying so Zero. I'm saying no. I'm saying Loco. Again, all the reasons Nico said. Deep first rep does a bit wrong as well. Over raced. Outlier here. One of my was going back. What do you think of Dunkel, Nico? Like he might do something here. Like you get a price to find out too.
He was a bit of the smoky because that Cezero race that he ran in the Alistair Clark, by the time the wind changed on that day, you just couldn't make any ground at Moonee Valley. Like, they're all out the back and just really struggled to run on. He was as good a run as high approach in that Moonee Valley race, who come out and ran well in the Derby after that. So you can definitely tie his form in. He was the second fastest last 200 metres of the race. So probably a bit unconventional having nearly 60 days off between runs, but he had a lot of residual fitness, and he's he's a bit of a winner. You know, he just finds the line.
He just keeps lifting his speed and finding the line. I remember all the way along, he sort of said he was SA Derby, didn't he? And he's, you know, he does a bit wrong and gets out the back. But again, you want something who's going to do something right. And
I'd love to see him in a real fast run race. Like that race he won at Moonee Valley was quick run, the maiden. Ever since then, he's been in these barrier trial speed races. If he gets in a real fast run race, which you could here with Dumb Woody setting up the tempo, they're not going to go slow on him. And it's typically a fast run race, the SA Derby. I think that could really suit him. He could just find something, you know, upwards of a new level in that sort of race shape. But yeah, tricky race. Thought She's Fit probably deserves to be favourite, but outside of her, you know, Loco's got talent, Duncal's got talent, Red Sun Sensation's got talent. It's just where they're where they're all at.
But I think she's probably the most reliable.
Yeah, I think all the points you make spot on. Dunkel could be the one where it wins and you scratch your head at the end of it going, I'll let that get under my guard. And I thought the other roughie one you touched on there, Nico, was his high approach. Jay Allen, Derby King, its run in the AJC Derby was extraordinary if you go back and look at that. What's going on, DK? Do you know what's going on? There's a couple of, I've noticed at least 2 Archie Alexander horses have gone to Dan O'Sullivan. Do you know what's going on there?
Yeah, he got 6 weeks for a swab. One of the staff, it wasn't his, he only got 6 weeks as it was cross-contamination with the staff. So all the horses are going to, I think he did a deal with Dan O'Sullivan for 6 weeks.
Gotcha. Okay. The
only horse that I want to just shine a light on is probably Aberfeldy Boy. I take note of what Az is saying in terms of the Queensland Derby, but they might have just kept this horse a little bit fresh to keep the ping in his legs. Go back and have a look if you want to go into some deep form. Go have a look at his run in the Geelong Classic. It was an absolute belter, held up, and he was only sort of getting hot late in the Derby behind Manzois. He had no idea what he was doing, the horse. I think Ben Mellon was on it. He started on the fence and he veered off to about 10 or 11. He was just like a big baby that time, and I think I've heard the stable say that he was a bit raw and new and green and all that sort of thing. So I can't believe the price, and I sort of, if I had more time and a printer at home, I would have had I love Craig Newitt shirt on this week. So nothing personal ever. It's just how the tactics sort of unfold. But I think if Froggy turns up with his head screwed on, he's ridden this horse every start. I can't believe that Aberfeldy Boy is $11. This horse looks like he'll absolutely eat 2,500, and he's a horse that's going to be steaming home the top. And I don't know, Griffiths to Cock, I think they've sort of turned the corner. I think you said it a while ago, DK. I'm happy to back him in.
And Stays, like I said, they had one the other day. What was he going there to a grey horse the other night? He goes 1,600 to
Stormy Grey,
2,500, no problems, you know. So I think they get whether that's the De Cock influence, where they get the Stays fit.
I'm saying Borrell beat VRC Derby, Scoot. It should have won the VRC Derby. It was held up, flew home. It was stiff. It's a nice horse.
Yeah, you can't be not on that horse for mine. All right, let's have a look at race 9. You're gonna have a look at here. I'll just get the market up. I'm caught with my pants down here. Not ready, but wide open market here.
$6 a field.
Yeah, $5.50 Demon Blood. Rocketcura is $7. Halo Ground.
Rocketcura.
Yeah,
Rotocura, $7. Hello Ground is $7.50. Ranger Frank, $7.50. Lady Simone, $8.50. The Gov, Absolute Milk Drinker, $9.50. My Ruby is $13. Roxy Blue, $15. And you can write your own ticket, basically. The rest. The trial, you're going deep here, Azza. This is why I love you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was on all over Lethal Thoughts, and they're running in Melbourne, so I've had to adjust quickly to another Morphettville bet. This is a horse called Hallowed Ground. Used to be trained by George Osborne.
I remember it.
He retired.
On the synthetic
went on the
horse.
synthetic. He won 3 from 4 on the synthetic. Was winning by 5-6 lengths.
Running fast time, yeah.
Then Osborne retired. He gave it to Dave Jolly. Trialled okay. Put tongue tie and winkers on. And it's ran 4 of 4. It's leading the trial. When it went to D Jolly, he put the winkers on and a tongue tie on. It ran 4th of 4 in a Saturday race, which was reasonably strong. Won by a horse called Kim. He was backed off the map in that, and then second up, he was backed off the map again. Smashed his head against the barrier when they opened, and trailed off last again. Spelled his trial a couple of weeks ago was absolutely huge, out of this world. I think here, given the 2 excuses, I like it second prep for a new trainer, a bit more on the system, winkers off and tongue tie off. After that trial, I just think this is a pack of absolute milk drinkers, 1,050 metres at Morphettville benchmark 64. If it runs up to its trial, it will just win. $758. I've had a very good crack each way at this. I thought the only other one, because I was just trying to find a danger, I do try and sort of 2-bet strategies, and Scoot will say this horse is a flea, which he's spot on, is the Gov. But if you watch its last start, it was just on the bridle. It ranged up to a horse called Shripper, who's a really good horse, I think, and then just sort of paddled the last 100. I think it's just a 1,000-metre horse. I just thought T Panel Barrier 2 was just going to get suck. If you could keep on the bridle as long as possible, like he did last start, it could be in the money as well. But really keen Hello Ground each way. If runs up to its Dynamite trial, if you get time, go look at it. It'll be winning.
You might have to jump the fence there and carry it. It needs 9.55. It's a bit of Alexander Beetle about it, the Gov. But
focus on Hello Ground, Scoop. Focus on Hello Ground.
I do love the angle there on Hello Ground, and you make a very compelling case, especially at 7.50 in a pretty moderate field. All right, outstanding stuff, Azza. We'll let you get back by the pool and enjoy the spoils of your Ruthless Dame success.
Thank you, boys, and I will look forward to the stream on Saturday and getting a good return for our investment.
I think we'll have no doubt about that, and we might have to snip the early price. This Hello Ground, I'm starting to get a little bit revved up about that one, and maybe the price won't last by the time we get to Saturday. But big thanks to Azza for dialing in, and hopefully we can get him into the stream at some stage throughout the day on Saturday. He's a very entertaining customer, as you saw the night at Moonee Valley. Nico, you're up next. We've put you down the batting order here, but the Andrew Ramsden is the race that we're going to have a look at, and that's race 7 at Flemington. And the horse here that's favourite and that you found is White Marlin, $2.25. He's a shocker, $4. Luna Flare, $8. Vow and Declare, $15. El Patroness, $15. Hasta La War, $21. Herman Hess, $21. True Marvel, $31. Swords Drawn, $34. Salino, $41. Third Realm is $41. And you can get much better the rest. Let's have a look at the replay of White Marlin here, and that's Earlswood behind him, and Diagula, and you can see Aberfeldy Boy in the white charging home.
Yeah, this was a much anticipated race, given he was Melbourne Cup favourite before this. I think he just went too slow. To 600, he's gone 9.4 lengths below, and he's just been run down by one with a better turn of foot. He carried 60 kilos. This horse, Diagula, carried 53.5. Goes straight past him. Easy to tie in the form here, given Diagula beat, he's a shocker, last winter. So it's not like Diagula's a slouch, and that was definitely his sort of setup, a slow run race where he could show his turn of foot. So yes, he did get beat at $1.22, but as soon as he got beat in that race, I just thought, well, now we're going to get a price to back him in the Ramsden. I did a bit of deep diving into the Ramsden since it's been a 2,800 metre race and a golden ticket into the Melbourne Cup. They've had 4 editions. All been to the 600 about 10 lengths above that sort of speed, and they've all run some huge overall figures. You look at White Marlin's one run at 2,800 metres at Flemington, which did put him into Melbourne Cup favouritism where he absolutely dominated. To the 600, he went 10.2 lengths above and run an overall figure about 14.5 above. If he does that again here, he'll just win. And I think with the early predicted tempo with Rebel Racer in the race, him pushing the sort of speed, the historical pattern there of this race going fast, given how much intent there is for a lot of these horses, because you can get a spot into the Melbourne Cup. Everything sort of lines up to mine that they're going to go quick, and the quicker they go, I think the further he'll win by.
What do you think about the Forgive off the last start flop there, DK?
No, I think Nico's right. It's all in the data. Jay Childs might have got it wrong, which you don't get it wrong on the leaders very often, doesn't he? But
it's all right. You can get it wrong in the lead up as long as
that's
you win.
That's right, exactly right. In the lead up to the golden ticket, exactly right. How often do we see it? Normally the 2-year-olds, isn't it? They all get beaten at the short odds before the grand final. So he was holding. He couldn't sprint any faster than that. That's him. It was just, but probably misjudged it. But again, don't knock him round. He's got the grand final in a couple of weeks. Don't go out. Why go out above tempo in the grand final? In the lead up to the grand final. So no, he should. As Nico, all the reasons, mate, he should be taking care of them in that race with the big golden ticket on the line.
Yeah, I thought the only danger is probably Luna Flare. We saw her what she could do at the end of last spring. She won the Bart Cummings, at this track, and then she ran second to Francesco Guardi in that really fast run Moonee Valley Cup. She looks like she'll lead up 2,800. She's been hitting the line strong. G Beg. It's hard to underrate G Beg at the moment.
Fine,
He's
G-Beg.
just airborne.
Just consistent, though. Doesn't dip, does he?
No,
I
he's a
like
freak.
one of his again tonight. Anyway.
So I thought, if at $8 you could probably have something on her. You could make her. A winner in the race.
Your Azza 2-bet strategy.
Yeah. You can make her a winner if you want to, but if you're just pretty keen like I am, White Marlin, you're probably taking any price, to be honest.
Scooty squatty numbers just for a couple of horses at big odds that can run a place, because DK absolutely loves these ones.
Get your pens out.
Yeah, they're probably not well in at the weights, but I thought True Marvel, Salino and Third Realm might be able to fight out a second or third placing at big odds if you want to go deeper into those ones. Let's have a look at race 9 at Flemington. Market here is Airman favourite $4.20, Midtown Boss $5, Renoso $7.50, KGB $10, Hood Air $16, Zoo Sensation $17, Rylov, and then Red Zeus is $21, and that's the horse that we're going to have a look at here. Nico, tell us why you like it.
Yeah, he's in the McAvoy colours here, just sort of gets chopped out of a run slightly. The horse to his outside in the line, Seven Veils, who, as I was talking about before, run well in the Doomben Bronze since this race. I think the key to him here will be getting the blinkers on. He gets the blinkers on for the first time. He gets down the straight. He's been a horse who's shown a bit of ability throughout his career. Had some really good wins on the synthetic. This was a first up run in a pretty hot race, really. Renosu's in this race. He wasn't all that far in front of him there, and now he gets him with 54.5 relative to Renosu's 61. So I think you'll need a few things in his favour. I thought he was 30-1 last night. He's had a little bit of support. He gets the blinkers on and the tongue tie on for the first time. So I could see some improvement in stepping out to 1,200 metres.
I've noticed they're one camp who you can nearly lock it in, though, improving the blinkers going.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they're very good at getting that improvement. And they've got the tongue tie as well. Give it the double whammy.
Yes, he's shown some talent. I thought just from the map, he'll put himself in the right spot. And he's probably coming out of one of the, not a legless lead up compared to a few of these. A few of these have some iffy form. Airman, he's got talent, but I don't know if I want to be getting involved at the price he is currently, given how long he's had off. And then you could find a few chinks in the others. Renosu's got to carry 61 and get out to 1,200 metres. This horse looks like a 1,200 metre horse. His best win probably was at 1,200 metres at Moonee Valley. He's probably got to step up a little bit, but I thought just with the blinkers on, soft run, lightweight, right camp at the moment, they seem to be going pretty well, McAvoy. Thought from an exotic point of view, you could definitely throw him in with, Midtown Boss and probably Airman is the other key chances in the race, but he just represented good value, I thought, on a good card at Flemington. We're probably keeping our cards close to the chest for the stream, but gee, there's some okay bets if we want to get involved there. Hopefully a few of the boys line up with our thoughts and we can have a crack. But there looks some handy races at HQ there on Saturday.
Don't mind that one at each way. That's definitely a race that looks up for grabs. And again, echo the thoughts on how good the card looks there. Nico's going to be doing Mounting Yard Mail, and Lady Court was a good one that he found yesterday at Sandown. And I was a bit unlucky in the last when he launched.
Sandown, just a mixed bag yesterday. We had 2 winners, and then I think every other horse we backed ran last. So we just
there you go.
had the complete variance there. Just horses just not handling that track at all. It's a very, very tired track, that Sandown track. So
14-metre rail.
Yeah.
And tired. Yeah.
So we managed to get out not too bad, really, considering we had a crack at a few that just did absolutely nothing. But yeah, Lady Court was a handy result.
I think there'll be some massive form reversals out of that Sandown meeting. Obviously, once a couple of those hit a dry track, that's one of the handy things with your stuff, Nico. Once you're subscribed to Nico's Yard, you can actually go back through all the results. And if there is a Melbourne horse that I like or I find, I always go back and cross reference to see where it's at and its prep. So that's another little hidden advantage is why you should be getting Nico's Yard if you're a serious Victorian form analyst. I know someone hit me up yesterday and wanted to know your thoughts on one of their own runners. Okay, Punting Form is one of our major sponsors. It's the best possible next step if you're looking to make the transition. Obviously, Kingsley thinks there's lots of opportunity left in the game. So if you're a tape watcher and you want to start marrying that up with data, make sure you hit the boys up at puntingform.com.au and they'll give you a tutorial there also. Can't wait for the action there at Flemington on Saturday. All right, Walt's 6, so I'm going to have a little bit of a look at a value runner in the Scone Cup tomorrow. Mark it on screen now. You got Banju, the favourite, coming out of the Tamworth Cup, being 416 to 380. Jojo was a man, 420. Wild Planet, 750. Bold Mac, 850. Elise, $10. Luncey's is 11, Acquitted 15, Berberdeck $16, Commando Hunt 17, and Cisco Bay's been 26 into 18. That's the horse I like and I've found from its run in the Tamworth Cup. And you can see it with the yellow cap and yellow sleeves. Interesting, Robbie Dolan had it from barrier 14, and you see him just there spearing to the outside here. Third widest horse there. Banjo's up in front. He wins the race. This horse completely snagged back. Much better set up at 1,600 metres. Got form around some really strong horses in like the Big Dance and horses like Wicklow. So the rising trip to 1,600 is much better suited. And he's drawn 4 or 5 this time in. So this horse, if he draws wide, they just snag him back. He's pretty easy to read. But if he's drawn inside, he can sort of sit 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. And he just needs to sort of be switched off and ridden quiet to run a big race. So he's already been 26 into 18 with TopSport. But I think he should be sort of around the $10 mark. He can get a suck run, the big Scone track. Hopefully it sort of breaks open a bit. And I think Robbie Dolan knows what the assignment is. And I wouldn't be surprised if they keep backing him right down to sort of $12 or $13. So there's still some value there. And I was sort of kicking myself that I didn't take 31 and watched it go off 27. Woke up this morning and in it is now at sort of $20 or $18 sort of around the place. So in a really wide open Scone Cup, you can make a case for about, I'd say, 6 different runners. And if Banju's the $3.80 favourite, this horse at the weights, only carrying 54 kilos, he's in pretty well and is going to get a soft run, and the horse is absolutely airborne. Looks a complete setup job from the Gerald Ryan and Alexio Yard. So that's my thoughts on the Scone Cup. You boys had a look at that one yet, or too wide for you?
No, just a real Vic focus this weekend. Tends to be when it just gets out wide there in New South Wales, it just gets too hard, I reckon, a few of those meetings. So I generally give them a bit of a brush, and we got a Chuka on Saturday.
Yes, I was just saying, I'm good. I'm happy. Yeah, it was a Chuka. It's one of the venues
I was looking at the track rating before, and I said a good 4 as well. So
missed the rain. Oh, get stuck into that today.
Will you have one for us, DK, on Saturday?
Yeah, I'll find so. I'll go with Chuka Scoot. I'll get stuck in today.
Beautiful. All right.
Love it. Chuka's a good joint. So hopefully I'm happy when I saw that was on scheduled on stream day.
Outstanding. Saturday, we've got one of Walt's best bets. He put this one through, so I'll read out market, but definitely his tip, not mine. It's the Midway, benchmark 72, just how he likes it. Rathfull's a favourite here, $2.30, Miracle Spin $5.50, Decadent Tail $7, Left Reeling $7.50, La Mare $17, and My Deal $21, much better the rest. No surprise here, he tipped on the last show he did when he covered Rathfull's race, but he thinks it's close to a good thing here on Saturday at Scone.
Walt thinks this thing's fire lap, doesn't he? After the last run, he just absolutely loves it.
Yeah, so you can see it wide. It's one of the widest here, and it's nearly an absolute slaughter job.
Jeez, it's testing conditions.
Very testing conditions, and he finally hooks it out wide and gets there in the last sort of 2 strides. But I think Sam Kavanagh gave Dylan Gibbons an absolute mouthful. Here it is. It would have been something licked. He held it up for quite some time, had a lot under the bonnet. And the big roomy track at Scone, you would think that he'd be something beat. But Walt's sort of sitting it, hoping it sits 5th or 6th in running and doesn't have to get dragged back to last. So he thinks you should definitely follow up on that horse. And despite barrier 13, hopefully Dylan can put it into the race a little bit early. But apparently there was a major blow-up at Rose Hill post-race despite winning the race. So it just goes to show we're not the only ones that sort of have a bit of a crack at the jockeys. Sometimes you got a different opinion, but good thing for Dylan. He got it home that day, especially for all the punters and the followers of the show. So Johnny's under the weather, but he hasn't stopped and just does not stop. He's an absolute freak. So make sure you check out racingwatch.com.au for more of his stuff, and you can get into his Telegram or Discord channels if you want more of his mail on a regular basis. So he'll be covering all the Scone meeting tomorrow and on Saturday if you're betting that way. It's time for Donnie's best. Bit lean last week, but Group 1 Saturday this week. Let's see what he's got.
Hey, gents, pub for the weekend, the Wolfden and Little Birdie taking on TopSport. Can't wait to get around it, win some money. Tristan and the team. It's a pretty tough card at Doomben on Saturday. Scone looks nice and juicy. I'll start with a good thing on Friday at Scone on Scone Cup Day. He comes up in race 2 as a yucca. It's only had 1 race start after trolling like an absolute bomb. Had barrier 1, was slow out, got hunted up, went too fast early. Got lost narrowly late by a fitter horse and a stronger horse. 1,000 metres against Soups. Timmy Clark suits on a leader, and he's not too worried about his ride on Colourpaw the next day at Doomben. He should get the money. He should roll across from the outside gate with up his sleeve, and there doesn't many closes in this race. So happy to back as a yucca at around $2.40. Next best, Doomben, race 9. So Athera, it's in the last $21. I think it's a good roughie. It's changed stables from Snowden to Waller. I always like when they change stables. First up last prep was very good in the Melbourne Group 3 race. I kind of went off the boil. That's why we're getting the price. K-Max on from a soft jaw. I think $21. If there's money late, I think it might be a nice each-way play. Don't go rushing you just yet. So my best bet is definitely on Friday to race 2 as a yucca. Good luck.
Waltz found that one as well. He pushed it through, and I said, "No, Donnie's already tipped that one." So race 2 on Friday as a Yarka. So it's also from the Gerald and Sterling yard, and Tim Clark's got the ride there. So I think it's 2:25 into 2:15 at TopSport already. So Scone race 2, number 1, and I don't mind his roughie either here. And I can remember the runs in Melbourne, this horse, and interesting the stable change. And K-Mac takes the ride, so. Interesting booking there as well, but Doomben race 9, number 17, Cythera. So I think there's a couple of roughies in that last race at Doomben, so we might have a 2 or 3 bet strategy there, depending on what the Wolfden team come up with, but might be a Grand Slam finish. So hopefully we've got plenty of bullets there, and we can launch in a couple of roughies late, because I've got a semi-horn about 1 if the track is playing fairly there. So I'm pretty excited about that. And TopSport Steamers this week, there's 2 bets. Doomben race 8, number 8, Giga Kick, 3,000 at 190. That's probably DK's.
Class horse.
Huh?
Probably the only show where you wouldn't get a Group 1 previewed, but there is the Doomben 10,000 on there on Saturday. So, I think he's into much shorter now. I think he's about $1.60 now, so yeah, he should be winning realistically.
Only the track, or maybe Valana will, if he gets held up, or it can be a little bit tricky.
Luck.
Bad luck will probably be.
She's $1.85. I thought he was shorter than that.
The other Group 1 that we did preview, Nico, is the other bet, Morphettville race 7, number 9, Promise Skep. This could be Az's bet, 1,000 at $7.50 here. So obviously the boys on the show are keen that one, but I thought the Doomben 10,000 was pretty straightforward, so I opted to leave it off the show, but we've covered them off anyway in the TopSport Steamers. But interesting show, interesting to hear Kingsley, and it's good to have Kingsley on the show. He's one of the biggest punters in Australia. I've seen it firsthand.
He's a bit
Betfair,
bit elusive there for a while. You'd always hear about Kingsley and have no idea who he was, and then all of a sudden the Den's come aboard.
Around. We get to see plenty of him. So
it's good for the game. They're doing a good job.
He speaks well, and very calm demeanour, and not too flustered by a lot of things, isn't he? You can see he's got all the tools to be a good punter.
Very cool, calm and collected. Something we can definitely learn from there. All right, let's wrap the show up here now, but make sure you buy a share in the stream if you're keen to sit back and watch the races on Saturday. If you go into the track, you can get the Little Birdie app so you can follow all the action. So just make sure you register at littlebirdie.tv and then download the app, and then importantly deposit into TopSport if you want to become a financial member of the stream. Fingers crossed. I don't think I can line up a better ensemble of talent than what we've got on Saturday. And the best part is we're not going head-to-head. And the good thing is you're going to get everyone's insight, and we're all going to push in one direction. Punt's pretty hard at the moment, so hopefully we can get you guys a good result. And I think that's a wrap for me.
The big thing will just be if we line up. We've just got to line up on a few races. Can't have too many of the boys just having differing opinions. But I think with a lot of the horses that are hard in the market on Saturday, looking at the way sort of Kingsley and a few of the others operate, they're big data men, so hopefully we do sort of line up on a bit of the data there.
I know Az likes a couple of shorties in Flemington, so could be hold on to your hats, a couple of those favourites, Nico. I think you know which ones we're talking, and hopefully we can couple a couple of them up together and get winning early. I think that's the key to it too, DK. You just need to get off to a good start and get our tail up and catch us if you can.
Yeah, that's the key we've found in the past, haven't we?
So we'll pile into your best bet early in the Chuka, and we'll hop into the cupboard from there.
That's it. Duck, dodge and weave from then on.
All right, that's a wrap from us. Big thanks to all our sponsors, TopSport, Punting Form, the Comics Lounge, and everyone that contributes to the show. And a big thanks to the Wolfden boys for going out of their way to help us on the stream on Saturday. And fingers crossed we can get a great result for everyone. And we'll see you on Saturday.